Hello and welcome to another Watcher of Realms video, and in this video we are going to be taking a look at the next 10 times banner that's going to be coming next weekend, where we can use our rare summons, going over the brand new character that is going to be added in that banner, but also just talking about how that banner is going to line up with a brand new event that's going to be starting up. So if you navigate over to your events calendar, you can see on the Friday we have got a special divine and special invocation of spirits. But before I go into this, it is worth noting that we have got a pre-registration come up for a new event that is going to be for a new time-limited Hero Fusion, and it is going to be another legendary character. This is going to start in 3 days, so this banner will most likely be included in the progression for this event. So taking part in this banner, even if it is just a small amount, just reasonably seems worthwhile just to get some progression there. But also you can do like weekly pulls and so on and so forth if you don't want to go all in. However, you might want to. We'll click on this. You can see it says the drop rate of the hero increases to its 10 times during this event, and that is on the special divine summoning. And then if we look on the other one, the invocation of spirits, drop rate of the hero increases to its 10 times during the event. Now the characters that are involved here are actually pretty good, particularly the legendaries look interesting. I can't test these characters out because I do not have access to any test regions, but we can go over the kits at least. I have got Cerberus, who I think is very good, and obviously we'll talk about the epics as well. So the new character, this is the one that is very interesting. I love the animation. When I clicked on him, I was like, yes, this is beautiful. When he does it, he'll do it. He looks interesting as a character. He is going to be a defender, and he has got, as it says, counter-attack, damage reduction, and damage escalation. Here comes the animation. Turns into Blanca from Street Fighter. Here we go. Let's do it. There it goes. I love it. I really do like the animation here. Animation special. Hopefully when you actually promote this character, he has an animation that's pretty cool too. His name's Trusk, obviously, as you can see. You can see his range is interesting. It is 2 ahead of himself. That can make a difference in certain pieces of content, especially if you want to try and double line up your tanks, potentially like GVG. If you're in one of the main like towers, you can obviously have it so that you have 2 tanks in a row or 2 characters in a row, and he'd still be able to get some rage, do his ultimate, so on and so forth, do some basics and so on and so forth. We'll go over his kit. You can see his talent. It says all damage dealt scales off of defense, which is pretty nice for a tank. Basic attacks launched has a 15% chance of triggering a roll, dealing AoE damage to at most 3 enemies. So it's just going to be extra damage, and like I said, it said all damage scales off defense. So when it says anything like AoE damage, it will scale off of defense as well. So the higher his defense rating, the more damage output that this is going to have, and obviously the better damage reduction he's going to have when being attacked. It hits up to 3 enemies. I'm guessing the animation is going to be what we're seeing right now, where he goes into a sort of ball. Probably going to be the kind of animation that you're going to see because he rolls. Interesting. We'll go over the rest of the kit here. Basic attack is just going to be a magic attack, dealing 100% magic damage to 1 enemy in range. It goes up to 120%. Pretty normal, but it is going to be magic damage, which is quite nice for a tank. You're kind of like anti-tank tank, which is like I say, kind of interesting. Then we have the ultimate, and it is called Thunder Thorn. It has a 1200 rage cost, which is honestly quite high. You start off with 600 rage, which is not too bad. You're halfway there, and it lasts off base for 15 seconds. Grants defense increase for up to 3 adjacent allies. Channels to deal 140% AoE damage every 2 seconds to up to 5 enemies in range. Additionally, if directly hit by enemies, the hero will trigger counterattacks to deal 300% damage 1 time. The defense increase on the ultimate is going to be plus 20% defense to 3 adjacent allies. And if we look at the actual boost from when he gets upgraded, you can see the effect duration can last an extra 5 seconds, going to 20 seconds. AoE damage can increase by 40%, giving it 100% AoE damage. Defense increase can go plus 10%, and that would be on this defense increase right here, I assume, where it'd be 30% defense to allies, which can be nice in certain pieces of content just to reduce incoming damage. And then obviously the skill cost of minus 200, I'd say is probably the most important thing, especially looking at other parts of his kit where he does have to ultimate a few times to get the best out of the sort of power that he's going to bring to the table. Because he has 1200 is very costly. 1000 is still pretty high, honestly, but being a tank, he's going to get hit quite a lot, so he should theoretically get a bit more range that way. You see the animation in the top left-hand corner. This is him doing it. As you can see, he's not doing any basic attacks when he's in this form. It is a channel, but I will say I don't think it is detrimental to the rest of his kit, unlike someone like Olag, where if he does his ultimate and he channels, he doesn't get any shields from other parts of his kit. So just worth noting, it's not so bad here on Trusk. It is generally seemingly worth doing his ult in opportune moments. Now the next one is a passive, and it is called Thorny Grasp. When doing the ultimate and when it is triggered, the hero pulls one unblocked target in adjacent tiles towards himself. Defense increases by 10% and block by 1 until the ultimate ends. Additionally, ranged enemies will prioritize targeting the hero during this time. Now with the first part, with the unblocked target, let's say with the Hellfire Immortal Codex, if a character, an enemy has passed Trusk, you can pop the ultimate to pull them back in if you want to try and do things that way. He could potentially be the last line of defense. You know, there's probably going to be some interesting setups when it comes to Trusk in that particular Immortal Codex. The increase of defense is nice. It's going to increase his damage output on that ultimate while he's channeling. And then obviously that character that he's pulled in, he's almost guaranteed, I assume, to block, because let's say he is blocking 3 characters or 4 characters, but based on his artifact, he'll get an extra block up to 5 potentially with the artifact, and that new character pulled in will be that new character, I assume. That's pretty much how it works. Unless there is someone even closer and the timing's bad, I don't know, you could get unlucky. It would require a bit of testing there. So now the last part, additionally, ranged enemies will prioritize targeting the hero during this time. This is quite good because let's say there's certain game modes like GVG where you can potentially get done by ranged characters or like flyers. And I assume a flyer would be considered ranged because it's attacking at range. We'll have to, again, like it would require a lot of testing on this stuff. It means that he effectively like taunts those characters for 20 seconds as well while the ultimate goes on. The increase to defense goes up to plus 15%. Again, just increased survivability and damage. So a nice little bonus there. Now the last part here is another passive linked to the ultimate. And this is why when he channels his ultimate, it isn't a problem because nothing is like able to happen anyway unless he ultimates. So it generally seems to be worthwhile just to do the ultimate as soon as it's up as many times as possible. It says each ultimate cast increases defense by 10% permanently, stacking up to 2 times. This does get expanded up to 4 times, so you can get a plus 40% defense increase. However, the defense increase also goes up by 5%, so it would obviously go up to potential plus 60% defense at 4 stacks. The last level up on this skill is the really, really juicy one. And you rarely see things like this on tier ups for skills. You generally see it on Awakenings. But he can get another block when he's at max stacks. If you look on the right hand side, his base block is 3. If he's holding a Bastion's Ring, the artifact, the old Olag's Wall, he'll get +1. And then he potentially could get another +1. So he could have 5 on the actual block on this character. Also, when he does his ultimate, he gets another +1. So he could potentially block 6 characters, which is very, very nice for that Hellfire Immortal Codex for sure. But also, it's just good because he'll deal more damage to those characters. Because when they hit him, he obviously counter damages the people who attack him. So, like I say, it's kind of interesting there. And it's AoE damage counter attack. So, like I say, I think the potential for this as like a bit of a fun character is nice. I did pull like Orim, and you had to go too much into attack to actually do anything offensive, and it made him so bad as a tank. Whereas because you're pushing everything into defense on Trusk here, it's going to be absolutely fine when it comes to his survivability for sure. Now, as I said below, he has a block of 3. His cost is 19, which is kind of, I think, around normal for a tank. Anything under 20, I think, is around normal. I think 17, 18, 19 is pretty much what I normally see. Revival time is 60, so pretty much standard there. We'll jump into the Awakenings just to see what he can get here. When HP is below 50%, reduces all damage taken by 30% for 5 seconds. This effect can be triggered up to 1 time every 40 seconds. That is obviously quite nice. The only downside of this is he doesn't have any self-sustain when it comes to HP, so he will need to be healed up by someone else to bring this, you know, back in line so he can do it again. However, in that particular Immortal Codex, I think you do get just random healed over time based on certain factors, so there's maybe some healing there. That's pretty much it. The next one is going to be plus 200 defense. It's only flat, unfortunately. You would have loved to have seen like a 3 to 5% defense boost here, just because he does rely on defense quite heavily. I wouldn't ignore HP, by the way. HP is very, very, very important. But obviously defense is very important. Extra percentages would have been nice. He gets a lot of buffs, so it's not as big a problem. And the next one is going to be deals 20% extra damage to enemies blocked by himself. So that will stack with all of the things that he's doing on the ultimate, the actual damage, the counter damage, so on and so forth. So he's becoming, like I said, a bit more of a damage dealing tank, which is, like I said, kind of interesting. Based off defense is interesting. The next is going to be all damage reduction by 8%. This is very nice. This is very nice. Heavy survivability. This will stack with his defense rating, so he'll be able to get massive amounts of damage reduction, and it could be extremely hard to take down his character. Very slow to take him down. I'm thinking GVG is going to be a problem. Obviously, you can go quite heavy anti-tank on GVG. Certain characters can bypass with like magic damage, but he's still going to have heavy reductions here. Now, the last upgrade, is it any good? Is it juicy? When receiving fatal damage for the first time, restores 30% max HP immediately. So basically, he has sort of like immunity to death for the first time. And based on how much HP he's got, that HP heal could be pretty big. That could be like, you know, you can get like 70, 80k HP on a tank that has a lot of defense. So he could be healing for his upwards of like 20 to 25k HP. And that could be enough time for a healer to come in to get some big heals in. Or for him to like pop his ultimate to just get more damage off and the extra defense boost there. So just a little bit of survivability. I wouldn't say this is crazy, but it is just nice. I think if he would have had the same sort of thing that Baron has, where he basically goes into a mode where he cannot be taken down, that would have been too much. So I think this is reasonably balanced, considering the rest of his kit does look pretty nice when it comes to how it's formed. Like I said, I can't test out how strong Trusk is, but the kit works. It seems to have good synergy, and it's nice to see. I always like seeing a synergy within a kit. Like a kit that makes sense is kind of exciting for me. So that was just a little look at Trusk, and Trusk is, like I say, very cool, kind of interesting looking character. The visuals, the animation. We'll look at one more animation. Go on then. We'll look at one more animation. But like the visuals and the animation are really, really cool. And I like the runes. He's an esotericist. I didn't really actually mention this. So he won't get the bonus from Northerners, which is pretty much the go-to for the Immortal Codex there. But maybe he doesn't need it, because that is all about block. So he has probably the highest block potential in the game at 6 in like the most highest potential. So yeah, I think he's going to be very, very good for that Immortal Codex. Very, very good indeed. Now, the other characters in this banner are going to be Cerberus. We won't look into him too much, but he's actually a really good character. I've pulled him a while ago, and he's good on Immortal Codex. I have had reasonable progression as well within GR1 at some point with him. Just using him at the wall, it's not too bad. And in some arenas, I think there's one particular arena, him and Aatrox, the duo is very, very nice together. So yeah, kind of interesting character, kind of fun. I have thought about actually skilling him up, because he is very good in one of the Immortal Codexes, but I don't actually have the artifact for him that I need, which is a Lunacy Visor. I only have a grade 1 copy of a Lunacy Visor. I need 2, and I need them to be reasonably high tier. So my Cerberus is kind of falling behind because of that. It's just the way it goes. But I think he's a cool character, and also visually really, really cool. I actually brought this up to my brother recently. It's surprising he's cultist and chaotic though, because because like the visuals give me more of an esotericist vibe based on like the cobra on his helmet, that sort of thing, and the masks. But it is the way it is. He is also required to be able to 3-star the final cultist stage because you need 3 fighters. So if you do want to min-max that part of the game, you will need a copy of Cerberus for sure. Now when it comes to the epics, I'm not going to talk on these too much. Maul is great. He's pretty much the best, I think, epic when it comes to AoE damage, especially like accessible, consistent accessible. I think Iona is very good too, but her drop rate is really, really low. So he's really nice. He's good in GR1, GR2, and GR3. You know, obviously not the best in GR1, GR2, GR3, but he's very, very good, and that's kind of what an epic should be. Lightlock is disappointing. I don't think they should ever do it 10 times, honestly, on a character that's a fusion. He drops so much. He already drops so much. It's just going to be sold by like 99% of people. I think most people have a maxed out Lightlock already just from the fusion. And it kind of undermines a fusion, in my opinion, if you put the character in here. The fusions should be... I actually don't think fusion characters should drop at all. I think they should be exclusive to fusion, and that's the only way you can get them. My thoughts, anyway. The next character is kind of interesting, Varoth. I've tried to use him. There was a Immortal Codex Styx that I tried to use him in. He kind of seems quite suicidal. He dies really quick, unfortunately. He doesn't have much sustain, but he does have crazy attack speed, and his visuals are really, really nice. The half, like, frozen, one of his arms completely frozen, is a really cool visual. I don't think he's required for the Northerner trial. I don't know, but he could potentially be required as they could need fighters. I'm not onto the latest stages of Northerner. I'm kind of stuck on Northerners because I need another damage dealer like Nocturne, because you need to take out those characters before they get to you, and basically Varoth can't really do much in that situation, so there's not really any real big call for him. However, Maul is a Northerner, and he definitely is viable in the Northerner trial up until the last stages, just because he has freeze, he has decent-ish damage, and his ultimate is actually really, really quick. I think, how fast is his ultimate? 600. You get that real quick. You get that real quick indeed. So that's the banner, mainly Trusk on a 10 times. I'm probably going to do some pulls. I don't know how much I'm going to go in. I might do 20 summons just to do my weekly, because my weekly cools down, if we have a little look, in 2 days. I have to effectively have done my weekly to make it reset. But then I can also do back-to-backs at that point. I can do 2 10s, get the rewards from this week, and then effectively get the rewards next week done already. And then I don't have to pull for another like 10 days. So we'll probably do that. I'll wait it out and just do 10 summons, unless I'll base it purely on the event rewards for this this registration event, which is going to be the main thing I'm going to obviously try and get. Is this character? It's going to work like Alistair. More information on that one to come. But this guy, I believe, is a Northerner tank. And I'll check out this character when he's released as well, for sure. But that's the end of my little video here, guys. Do tell me what you think about Trusk. Like I say, visually, really nice looking character. I think he has one of the nicest animations in the game. His visuals are just cool, but it's all about the blanket animation, like I said before. Like I said, any thoughts you have on this character, or the banner, or it being part of the wider event, most likely part of the wider event, let me know in the comments down below. I want to thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.